The following content depicts found footage, audio recordings, and assembled files. The events, locations, and individuals depicted are fictional to ensure anonymity. Viewer discretion is advised. Share your experiences and reactions in the comments. They may be used in future studies of unexplained phenomena.
The midnight transfer. I don't know who was in the ambulance with me. I swear, she was real. She held the crucifix of her necklace the entire ride. Her hand never let go. There are still marks on the seat, deep like she was gripping for her life. They told me she'd been dead for 3 days, but I drove her myself. I saw her breathing. I heard her voice. My name's Daniel Reyes. I've been a night paramedic for 7 years. Every shift starts the same walk of fee that tastes like rust and a silent garage full of engines. I'd always feel one call away from dying. My partner, Elliot, hums while cleaning the stretcher. I check the vitals kit, the defib, and tell myself I'm ready for another long night. It's cold tonight. Too cold for October. The road outside looks like a sheet of wet glass, and the city feels emptied out. Sometimes, I think the whole world falls asleep except us. At 2:13 a.m., the radio crackled. A faint female voice broke through. Static. Fall, room 12. Elliot frowned and adjusted the dial, but the voice was gone. Dispatch confirmed a call logged under Margaret Lowe, with an address at an old nursing home out on Route 11. Looked at me. Guess someone pressed the wrong button. I shrugged. Wrong or not, it's on our board. We row it out. Hillcrest Home looked half asleep when we pulled in dim yellow lights, a flickering exit sign, and one nurse at the front desk who looked surprised to see us. I told her we were responding to a fall in room 12. She blinked and said, "We didn't call anyone." Then she looked at the paperwork. Her expression shifted. "Margaret's in room 12, she said. Quieter now, but she hasn't needed help tonight. Elliot checked his tablet. The call was still there, time-stamped. No number listed. I didn't like it. Something about the silence in that place felt wrong, like the walls were waiting for something to happen. We walked down the hallway, lights buzzing overhead. Every door looked the same, but somehow the air felt heavier the closer we got to room 12. My footsteps echoed against the linoleum like we were walking through a memory instead of a building. Elliot muttered, "This doesn't feel right." I nodded, but kept walking. She was on the floor beside her bed, sitting upright, calm, and strangely alert. Her white hair was tangled, her gown spotless, and she held a crucifix so tight her knuckles were pale. "I'm fine," she said before I could speak. "It's not me you're here for. My granddaughter. She's out there, on the road. Please, no one's coming." Elliot bent to help us stand, but she refused, shaking her head. "You have to go now. She's still alive." I told her we'd take her first, that she might be in shock. She nodded weakly, but whispered, "Then hurry." As we lifted her onto the stretcher, the radio hissed sharply. Through the static came a woman's scream, distant, desperate, and cut short. Margaret's hand tightened around the crucifix. Her eyes met mine. "Please," she said, trembling, "save her." Then she went silent. The night felt heavier the moment we hit the main road. The siren cut through the fog, but there was another sound beneath it, a faint, broken voice on the radio. I thought it was feedback at first, but when I turned the dial, the voice grew clearer. It was a woman's voice, crying for help, repeating the same phrase again and again. "Please, someone help me." Elliot frowned and said it must be interference, but I could tell he was forcing the logic. The voice wasn't distant, it was close. Inside, almost. Margaret clutched her crucifix and whispered something in Spanish I didn't understand. Then she said, very softly, "We still have time. If you hurry." The radio popped. For a second, I heard a second voice, a child's cry, short and cut off. I turned the siren back on and pressed harder on the gas. I told myself it was all noise, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. When we reached County General, I jumped out first. The air felt colder than it should. I opened the back door as Margaret wasn't responding, but her pulse was steady. Elliot ran inside to call Tria. A nurse came out, glanced at her, then looked at me like I was speaking nonsense when I gave the name. He said, "That can't be right." Another nurse came, older, with tired eyes. When she heard the name, she froze. She told me to follow her, no questions, down the corridor, through double doors. The smell hit me first. Cold and metallic. She pointed at a body on a gurney. Margaret Lowe, the tag said. Same face. Same person. Elliot didn't say a word on the way back. He just kept rubbing his face like he was trying to wake up from a dream. When we reached the ambulance bay, I opened the doors again. The stretcher was empty. The sheets were creased, the straps undone, but no one there. I swear I felt warmth still clinging to the fabric, like she'd just gotten up. I looked at Elliot. He backed away, shaking his head, saying, "We're done, man. We're done. We're done." Then the radio turned itself on. Same static, same voice from before only. This time, it wasn't asking for help. It was just ... breathing. I can't explain why, but I knew where to go next. That road, she mentioned the one near the fields. Something in me said, that's where this ends. I started the engine again and whispered, "If someone's out there, I'm coming." The fog was so thick it looked solid under the headlights. The world had gone quiet, no insects, no wind, just the engine humming behind me. I followed the narrow road toward the fields, the one Margaret had mentioned. Then the smell hit me. Gasoline, sharp and wet. The red emergency light swept across twisted metal in the ditch. I stopped and stepped out. My boots crunched on glass. The car was upside down, wheels still spinning slightly. Steam hissed from the cracked hood. I called out, but no one answered. The silence pressed in on me like weight. The windshield was shattered inward, and there was movement in Sizemore. Slow, I swallowed hard and said out loud, more to myself than anyone, "There's someone in there." The driver was a woman, maybe late 20s. Her head rested against the airbag, eyes half open, no pulse. On the dashboard, hanging from a broken vent, was a small crucifix, Margaret's crucifix. I didn't even question it. I just felt cold all over. Then, I heard it. A faint whimper. From the back seat, a baby, strapped tight in a car seat, crying between gasps. Alive. I reached through the broken glass, cut my hand on the edge, unbuckled the straps, and pulled the baby close. He was trembling, but breathing. I told him, "You're okay. You're okay," even though my own voice cracked. Behind me, the air shifted. He felt warmth, the scent of lavender and dust. I don't remember much after that. The sirens came from somewhere behind me, blue and red lights bleeding through the fog. Elliot was shouting, running toward us. I was still holding the baby, shaking. They took him from my arms, but I couldn't let go of the crucifix. It was still in my pocket warm, like someone had just been holding it. Someone asked what happened. I tried to explain, but the words died in my throat. All I could say was, she only wanted to save her. Then, from the radio of the cruiser parked nearby, came a woman's voice. "I knew thank you. Room 217. The first shift. It was my first night at Hillcrest Home. The corridors smelled of detergent and something faintly metallic. Linda, the head nurse, walked me through the protocols, pointing out the patient panels each room with its soft blue light. "Routine," she said. "Always routine." Near midnight, a different tone cut through the hum of Machinza. Slow, irregular beep. I looked at the panel. Room 217, assistance required. "System error," Linda said. "We only go up to 216. Still, the light kept flashing red. I muted it once, twice. It came back both times, steady, deliberate. Before ending my shift round, I looked again. The red light was gone, but as I turned to leave, the sound returned only one, sharp, pleading beep echoing through the empty hall. The sound came again after 1 a.m. Faint but constant. I followed it down a wing no one had mentioned during orientation. The overhead lights flickered like something half alive. At the end, a wooden door older than the rest. The brass plate. 217. Inside, the air was still, thick with antiseptic. A single bed, sheets tucked perfectly, a lamp humming faintly. Then I saw Haran. Elderly woman, pale, eyes half open. Could you turn me, dear? My leg hurt so much. Her voice was gentle, almost embarrassed. I reached for her shoulder. The skin felt cool, smooth, too light to belong to someone awake. I did as she asked, turned her slowly, careful not to pull the IV line that wasn't there. She sighed, relieved. Thank you, dear. It's been so long. I smiled faintly, unsure what chart to update. Back at the terminal, I typed room 117 and the system blinked. Invalid entry. When I returned to double check, the bed was empty. Only the pillow, still indented where her head had been. Morning came, pale and quiet. I sat in the staff lounge, hands trembling around a paper cup of coffee. When I mentioned room 217, the conversation died. Linda avoided my eyes. Mr. Duffy appeared from his office, face pale. He said the room was sealed after a patient died there a decade ago. Necrosis, he muttered. Infection. Don't go looking for it again. I insisted I had seen someone. I even touched her. The look he gave me wasn't disbelief. It was fear. He walked me down the hall to prove it. The corridor stretched out under fluorescent light, spotless. When we reached where the door should be, only smooth plaster met my fingertips. No handle, no frame. Nothing. My heart raced. Maybe you mistook the wing, A sighed softly. But as we turned back, I saw it on the floor beneath the paint-faint numbers. Heavy rest. 217. I needed proof. During the next break, I accessed the security archive. The video from last night loaded grainy and gray. There I was walking down the corridor, alone. Then, static. 7 full minutes missing. The next frame showed me walking out, disoriented. No door. No light from a room. I turned up the audio. White noise. Then, through the hiss, a voice so faint, I nearly missed it. Turn me, please. The old woman's tone tired. Polite, pleading. My stomach turned cold. Behind me, the panel beeped once, faint but distinct. He spooned her wound, but the screen was blank. The timestamp blinked red. To 17 a.m. the next shift started with silence heavier than usual. Half the lights were out. Linda tried to reset the panel. The same alert appeared. Room 217, pain in leg. Ignore it, she said, voice shaking. But the sound grew louder, echoing down the empty hall. I followed it before realizing I'd left her behind. Each step closer, the air thickened, like humidity. Before a storm, the corridor bent in a way it never had before, leading to a wall that shouldn't exist. There, beneath peeling paint, was a faint indentation, a seam. My hand trembled as I brushed away dust. Someone had painted the number by hand, faded and uneven. 217. The panel beeped again, once steady, and behind the wall, I heard movement. A slow, shifting sound, like sheets being turned over. The door is there again. Clean, perfectly white. I touched the brass numbers. 217 still warm, as if freshly placed. The smell hits me the moment I step inside. Disinfectant and something faintly sweet. The woman is awake, already turned toward me. You came back, she says softly. It hurts when I'm left too long. The sheets stick to her skin. When I peel them back, I freeze. The leg beneath is black, soft at the edges, a dull shine of moisture clinging to the flesh. I should call for help, but my throat locks. She smiles. Just turn me. Dear, you're the only one who still hears me. My hands shake as I press against her shoulder. Her skin gives way, almost collapsing beneath my touch. The heart monitor beside the bed flickers, though no cables are attached. The steady beep fills the silence. Then the door behind me shuts on its own. I try the handle, it doesn't move. The room stretches, the far wall pulling away. The light above hums violently, flashing. My breath fogs in the cold air. The old woman is watching me now, eyes too wide, her chest barely moving. "You're a good nurse," she says. "Stay with me tonight." Her hand reaches for mine, bones thin as wires. When her skin touches mine, I feel something pulse under its low, rhythmic, like the beeping overhead. The walls breathe, the four-stand tilts. I scream, but my voice doesn't echo. It's swallowed by the static. "Please," she says, voice trembling now. "Don't leave me again." The bed creaks. I look down to her. Necrotic leg twitches. They say I never finished my shift, that I left my post, abandoned my station. But I remember hearing the alarm, the cold light flashing red, 217 pain in leg. I walked down the corridor again last night in my dream. Maybe, and the door was there. It opened for me. The smell of alcohol and rust. The same bed, the same folded blanket. Sometimes I think I'm still there. The others say they can hear my name in the intercom when the system resets. They laugh about it, but I know the sound. A faint voice beneath the static, asking for help. If you ever work the night shift at Hillcrest, and you hear that soft beeping from a room that isn't listed, don't go. Don't answer. Just let her. Call the window caretaker. I don't know what's worse, hearing the sound of the glass being touched, or seeing the handprint when it's already too late. I swear, for just a second, the reflection blinked before I did. And that's when I understood what they all saw before they died. The East Wing always feels colder. Maybe it's the glass, those old, warped panes that tremble whenever the wind crawls past. I start my rounds like every other night. Lights humming, floor wax glistening, the smell of bleach and something older beneath it. Nurse Helen mentions the usual oddity. The windows fog up from the inside, even when the air outside's freezing. I laugh, pretending it's nothing. At 2:47 a.m., the feed on camera 3 flickers. There's someone standing outside room 3. Still. Watching. Then static. When the screen clears, the windows empty again. Minutes later, the patient inside, Mrs. Elcat. I replay the footage again and again, but all I see is myself, reflected in the window. I spend my lunch break rewinding every tape from the last week. Every death has one thing in common. Distortion. A shimmer across the window like breath, and then a dark stain that lasts only seconds. When I tell Helen, she gives me that tired, knowing look. It's St. Alden's, Mr. Vance. Most of them already have someone waiting. She walks away before I can ask what she means. Her words stick like frost. That night, I keep the monitors running as I do rounds. At 3:04, a figure stands outside room 6. Thin, perfectly still, facing the glass. When I blink, it's gone. But my reflection seems slower to follow. I take the flashlight and step into the courtyard. The fog rolls thick, habeas wool. The window to room 6 glows faintly through it. Nothing moves. But when I glance at the security monitor through the office window, there's something there, a shape behind me. A tall outline reflected in the glass of the monitor itself. I turn. Just my reflection, breath fogging the screen. Then the heart monitor in room 6 screams through the speakers. I run inside, but the patient's gone. Eyes open, fixed toward the window. On the glass, a faint, wet handprint. From the outside, I stayed after my shift, unable to stop thinking about room 6. The silence of the East Wing felt heavier, as if the air had memory. I printed stills from every recording of the deaths, laid them across the desk. Each showed faint handprints, different in shape and angle. When I aligned them by time, the pattern formed the outline of a face pressing forward from the glass. At exactly 3:02 a.m., the security console pinged. Room 9. Patient unstable. I froze. The printer still spitting paper. The hallway lights flickered in sequence, like a countdown. The window on the monitor was already fogging from the inside. I moved one of the exterior cameras to face room 9 directly. The night air bit through my coat at 3 o'clock sharp. The screen showed movement, a tall, stretched silhouette, its head brushing the upper frame. The glass flexed, inhaling and exhaling like a lung. Inside, the patient began thrashing. I ran, slipping on the wet tiles, reaching the door as the alarm screamed. When I burst in, she was still, eyes open, staring toward the window. Outside, the glass was smeared with dozens of overlapping handprints, pressed from the wrong side. I leaned closer to the window, tracing one of the prints. The smallest finger bent, the same way mine did. Scar on the thumb identical. I stumbled back, breath fogging the pain. Then, primera sa. W. It my reflection. Smiling before I did. The monitors crackled to life. 2 figures appeared. Me inside, another outside, both standing perfectly still. The other raised its hand. I didn't move. The generator cut out. Darkness swallowed the hallway. Then came the slow crunch of glass-bending footsteps, echoing closer, deliberate, heavy, wet. I started recording my voice, the only thing still working in this blackout. My flashlight flickered with every word. Primera Said, my name the time. The place like it mattered. I wanted someone to know that it wasn't just shadows, that something waits between the glass and the dark. The reflection moves now when I breathe. It tilts its head when I don't. The emergency lights blinked back to life, painting everything a faint green. The monitors came on for a few seconds, enough to see myself walking toward room 9. I don't remember deciding to move. I watched, frozen, as the man in the screen raised his hand to the window. The reflection on the other side lifted his first. Morning security found the feed still looping. I wasn't there to greet him. He played the recording, saw me standing by the window, whispering to no one. I kept saying, "It's not me, it's not me." Then my reflection blinked once, slowed. The camera glitched. I vanished from the frame, but my voice kept echoing through the static. The guard tried the radio. It hissed. Then a calm voice came through. "Caretaker assigned, Peter Vance." He froze. The shift log updated itself. My name appeared. Antones roster. They found me at dawn, outside the east wing, body against the window. My hand was flat on the glass, matching the mark inside. My eyes were open, but I wasn't seeing anymore. The sun barely touched the frost. Through the window, something stood still, a silhouette, watching. The reflection on the security feed showed a badge swinging from its neck. Peter Vance. The glass trembled once, like it exhaled. Then the screen went black.